Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Team Fortress TV for the Open Grand Finals of Season 31, sponsored by STN Trading and Copenhagen Games. I am Lucky, and tonight I am joined by Gemm on production and eepily as my co-caster. How's it going, man?
It's going pretty well. This is my third grand final in as many days, and I feel like this might be the best one of all. At least, if nothing, the most memorable of all.
The most memorable. Oh, really?
But for reasons, it could be all kinds of reasons. Like we did see in the low grand finals, an invisible spy getting a headshot walking through shutter. We've seen people
Vac.
spawn on the wrong class and have to just kill themselves out of spawn, and that was in low. This is now open.
Well, you never know what you're going to see coming out of Open. I mean, in preparation for this, I've not watched any of the STVs because I was preparing for the mid-grand finals, watching all that stuff, where I thought there would be a little bit more strategy. But then I watched the VOD of the low grand finals and realized the strategy is out the window. So now that we've hit Open, I'm not sure what we're going to see coming out of these teams. But we have got actually some statistics from these teams
I love
coming into this
statistics.
game. Yeah, we love
Hit me
statistics.
hard.
I'm going to hit you hard. You ready for this? All right. So deathmatch+5 have won every game bar one, and they only lost one. And 100 Years also won every game, but they lost to deathmatch+5.
So what you're saying is we have a pretty clear favorite just in terms of numbers. Was that a pretty one-sided game? Was that
Yeah.
was that one of these real close ones?
Yeah, it was a stomp to
Ah,
deathmatch+5. It was 5-0 on process and 5-1
Lord.
on the next map. So
Good lord.
that's what we're looking at. But a few notable faces for me. I don't know if anyone else in the chat, if there's anyone you want to shout out in the chat for players that you know on these teams. But we have the streamer man Vorabray playing Demo Man on, I believe, Deathmatch+5. I don't really know these teams. And I recognize Canlock as well, a good sniper. But apart from that, all these guys are new to me. So congrats to these guys to making it to the final, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, like they've 100% earned their their night in the spotlight. I mean, I don't know exactly how many people are going to realize this game is happening because it is super early. I can't even remember the last time I opened like TF2 at this time. Like I literally got home, I jumped on my PC, and then Gem's already sitting here like cracking the whip, like get in, Mumble, get going. Oh, it's obscene. He's just a real, he's a real kind of yeah,
Your kind of
but
character.
well, exactly. Oh my God, like we're actually gonna get started.
Oh my holy moly, we're going live here, boys and girls. This is the Open Division Grand Final for Season 31, and we are heading straight into the first mid. No time to relax in this game. Players, we are making our way in with the demo men right now. Vorabray is already in mid. Matza following up now as most of the blue team start to flood through big door. Matza has no pressure onto him, walking really far forward. So now we are seeing a soldier bomb come out of Kallistan, and he just gets utterly denied by no name mode. And he goes down, and there are stickies all over the point right now. Both teams kind of playing passive. The red team starting to inch their way forward, walking over sticky bombs because they don't care. And the blue team have already made their way out as they lose Canlock in the chaos also. And that is just going to settle down.
Oh my Lord! I mean, like talk about a hard deny from the Death Machine scouts. They just absolutely annihilated that soldier, and that was the only real initiation 100 Years really seemed to have planned. They had that one soldier. Hey, he gets denied. I mean, I guess we'll just stand towards our choke and not really know. It's smart play from Death Machine, knowing exactly what's going on, playing things nice and patient. But we are going to have ourselves immediately a little stalemate here. So this is our opportunity to see people make some plays.
We should see, hopefully we're going to see some Roma sacks. We might see it now that we've reached the grand finals. Maybe the teams that don't really know what they're doing have sort of been filtered out. We might see some Romas try and sack in, maybe see some trades happening. But the thing that we will probably see coming out of either of these sides is probably a pick class, I reckon. What do you think?
You would imagine so. Like, honestly, with this kind of choke as well, there's a lot of peeking and prodding. Actually, we're seeing a demo sack here on the side of, oh my Lord, he goes in, he gets that one all-important stick. He does actually force off Uber, but this is going to be a much better Uber now. I mean, like, they're trading and they're trading players as well. This doesn't really make any sense for the side of Death Machine. They're kind of just full committing.
Yeah, they're just sending in so many players right now. They're players scattered all over the point. So much damage being dealt. The medic Dano naturally goes down. It looks like Deathmatch+5 are losing too many players. The blue team actually win that fight with the medic surviving. Kick doing a good job of surfing away there. Very low HP since he did get forced. They are now taking the midpoint. The scout is still in no-name mode, trying his best to get a little bit of scatter damage to deny those crit heals, and does make his way out of the mid now, eepily.
That was possibly the most disastrous trade I've seen in a long time, and I mean, we saw some of the trades in that Div 2 Grand Finals. They weren't exactly crispy, okay? But, I mean, jump your demo in, you go for the sack, and then you go for the trade, and then you lose 2 before you even use, and it's just like, I don't know, they were clearly trying a lot of different things, but I don't think you can try it all at the same time.
No, of course. But we are now seeing a stalemate that's flipped to the other side. Cake does have his Uber advantage. If they know this or not is going to be an interesting one. Hopefully they do know, because they can capitalize on this. They are 20% ahead. If they go fast, they're going to be able to get Danon, as they are holding close right now. Slayman Forever just trying to get some spell to the enemy team. Top is quite low right now, so I'm not sure. And also, the Romo goes down as well. I didn't even notice that one. But they are not going to push on the super advantage eepily.
Yeah, it did, like, for a second, it seemed like they were just going to like build it super hard and go for something. Nope, okay, they're just going to go late, clearly misreading these Ubers, and they're now just actually, they're trying to commit to it. They're trying to have both these scouts get something done, but really nice flashing actually from the medic on the side of Death Machine, and actually no player's going to go down in that server. That look, it could get quite scrappy, but both medics actually showing some really positive mechanical skill here.
Yeah, I'm just very surprised at how those medics played. They both did very well to keep all their gamers alive. The scouts just sort of trying to shoot everyone at once, not really focusing targets. IMG actually in behind right now, does get cleaned up by Grey Hunter. So not actually managing to find anything. We may see him come up on the sniper class potentially if they want to try and make a play that direction, if that's how they want to play it. But they are starting to rotate their heals towards Big Door as Grey Hunter taking all the heals. Does make his way in, does find a rocket onto no-name mode, takes him out. And it looks like they have now got a pick, so you might see something happen now, eepily.
Yeah, this Big Door's completely actually left open. The Roma on the side of Death Machine is just playing super passive, and it just seems like they're content to kind of give up this and just play the high ground. Definitely not a fantastic situation, especially when they lose their soldier as well. And I mean, at least Danon is far enough away, so they shouldn't really get forced as they take one rocket, but no, won't actually use here, but it just gave up that second just a little bit too easy.
Yeah, it was only
but the
one
scouts
pick.
didn't get the memo!
Oh no, they total miscommunications. Onimo gets caught out by a stick shot. Actually, they block the point with this Uber. Blue team now pop out their Uber as well as the demo man's walking forward. The soldiers are moving in. This is quite good coming out of the blue team. Canlock is all the way in. He is straight onto Dano. He does go down. Well played from Canlock to find that kill. And a bunch of players getting denied. Greyhound does get denied on jump, but they do have the Uber advantage and they have the heal advantage. So let's see what strategy they're going to deploy moving into last. It could be anything.
It really could, but like based on the way that Canlock, his medic's playing, looks like they're just going to build, they're going to play this advantage, they're going to give Death Machine just, you know, that little bit of time to at least get their buffs, get their spawns, get their... Does look like they're going to have a heavy and an engineer, but they don't have ages, you know? 100 years, they are going to be building hard, they're going to be looking, at least posturing towards this riverside kind of position, and this is going to be the first real test of Death Machine in terms of having a stable hold on last. Obviously, being able to hold last is incredibly important, and a lot of times can be a team's weakness.
Oh, of course. And they have actually decided to opt for the Pyro Heavy. They decided against the NG, maybe fearing the amount of time they had available. But Blue Team now do have their Uber. Let's see if they are well aware of this, as they are now, and they're taking their soldiers in towards River. We are seeing Callista lead the charge. The Pyro doing a good job of air blasting back. Heavy denying nicely. The flashes go all over the place, land up on the blue soldiers as they manage to get 2 kills in the chaos as Matson finds 2 sticky kills. The soldiers are back in, however, straight onto the Pyro. Unfortunately getting denied. Loads of damage though on the demo behind the point. Slayman Forever is getting incredibly low. Dano actually gets his Uber, pops onto the Pyro. W plus that one is activated. He's going in, he's killing everyone right now. eepily. He brings out the fire axe but doesn't actually go for it. That would have been a hella play, but Dano, such good medic skill coming out from him right there.
I mean, yeah, shout out to Dano, you know, he stayed alive, he got the Uber, you know, that, without that Uber coming out, like, it would have just been curtains for Death Machine, but I'm actually going to put a lot of emphasis on the fact that 100 years, they just didn't focus their players correctly. We actually saw their soldiers and their scouts shooting almost entirely different things for basically the entirety of that push. They weren't really on the same page, they didn't really deal with that Pyro, well, at all. So, it just seemed like, yeah, 100 years could, you know, they could get that denied, they could just, like, sorry, Death Machine could get that deny, get that kind of, you know, play nice and patient, and then, yeah, just wait for that Uber.
Blue Team seem to have got the memo about the Ubers, as they are holding really far back. Both soldiers actually on the nipple right now, so they can combine spam. You know what, and they are also watching drop down, so it's clear that they know what they're doing on this map. They understand the pace of the game. As the red team even pop their Uber in, Morabray is all the way in on the demo man. Good choice to jump the demo in. Actually, Matza gets caught there by the stickies. This could call for another push if they start the camp now with 1 scout, as they are starting to move through. No Name Mode trying to fight 2 scouts, however, is not going to be able to do that one. Cake with 87% Uber. Looks like they're going to be able to do this.
That was a kill stick right there on Vorabay, so that's going to be demo down to the side of Death Machine, and actually their medic playing pretty far forward on point. Doesn't look like Danone will die, but this is a pretty easy retake without even having to use here. Now, I feel like 100 years, they're in a good position. They just need to, you know, just stay a little bit patient. Get their big boys, get their demo, get their soldier, and start looking to play towards this choke, because there's still a lot of players from Death Machine who are just way too close. They're not respecting this Uber advantage.
Yeah, of course. Greyhunter is now making his way in. He's calling, boys, 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 it's time to go in, lads. And the scout is already in. Top gets destroyed immediately. He is gone. And another player, Canlock, gets picked up. This Uber is a disaster, eepily. They're finding nothing. The demo does go in, tries to go to Dano, does miss all of the pills, unfortunately. The players are still in. Vorobra gets picked up as well as Cake going down. Matza is the last one left alive. They can't do this anymore now.
No, I mean, Mata did make the best out of a bad situation. He did just about end up picking up this medic, but actually he's gone straight to spawn. He's going to try and spawn camp. Please! Oh my lord, he nearly kills a soldier in spawn, but meanwhile, we have the only remaining players really from Death Machine who are actually anywhere in the server, just capping mid. So I appreciate Mata trying to make some kind of plays here, but surely he doesn't get another frag here.
No, hopefully not. I mean, he's all the way in behind. Vorobra has seen him, and Danon is probably aware of his existence right now. But there are even Ubers right now, but this could be good for the blue team. If they notice that loads of players are going back from Matza, they can make their way in through choke, but they opt not to go for it in the end. The problem with that Uber, though, coming into second, which cost them a lot, was that they piled all of their players into Big Door, and they didn't really split their flank very well or delay any players, which is maybe something they want to look at in the future.
I mean, any Uber where the second you use, you lose both of your scouts, like, you know something's gone horrendously wrong, and it's just, it's unnecessary, you know? You can flash a certain amount of players with an Uber, but everyone else, I mean, they don't really need to do anything there. They can just play around the fact that the rest of the team's going to be fragging with this Uber, but definitely not quite right. We do actually see Death Machine breaking through choke almost entirely for free. I think Cake and the rest of the team just a little bit uncertain of what's happening with these Ubers and just playing really, really far back.
Yeah, they're just sort of leaving, but there is a force to Danos. Kalistan gets all the way in through the entire team. It looks like Cake now has his Uber, and they are going to pop that one out. Good job at keeping the players alive, keeping the damage off Greyhunter. Greyhunter does find a kill, actually, onto Dano, and Canlock finds Vorobra, so the demo and the medic are down. And IMG also goes down in the Chaos Pistol, down by Canlock. There is a soldier up on the high ground, however, right now, as Slayman does try his best to get as much damage as possible onto them. But they managed to hold it with a good player advantage right now, eepily.
It's actually been almost a complete, just destruction of that push there. It's actually going to be basically a wipe just fractionally before these Death Machine players spawn. And we do actually see Mata sticky trapping. I mean, it's a spawn. There's still 3 Death Machine players playing towards choke. They could call this for their team, but they just don't, so they lose Outsider as well. And this is, I think, the biggest misread I've seen in quite a long time.
Yeah, that was a massive misread. They just give them all of the room right there. They just got it for free. There was nothing like Canlock just ran through choke, Scatter gun down the demo, and that was it. And we are now seeing Matza move into last with Canlock already. No Name Mode is up on the heavy right now, getting loads of damage onto Greyhunter, doing a really good job of denying. Top is actually in right now, trying to get as much damage as he can to Dano. Does not find anything, unfortunately, and players are dying all over the place. It's only Cake left. Maybe a little bit too rushed right there.
I think definitely. I mean, if you look at the way the scouts were playing, it's kind of a bit of a symptom of what we're seeing quite a bit from 100 years already. I mean, it's only 10 minutes into the game, but you can already see their scouts are just playing that little bit too far away from the hill beam. Both their scouts there, they were trying to get on point and not just playing the slow, methodical game, you know, playing with the hills. They could have even played that slow enough to, like, get Uber at that point, but scouts are just kind of rushing things, you know? They don't value that class highly enough with the hills.
Yeah, of course, they are making their way into the lobby right now. They do block the cap using the Uber charge, but that means that they won't have an Uber to push in for last. But they have got one pick up to Slayman, so we might see them try and just make something happen with the soldiers if they can. They are starting to move up through river and just sort of rotate their heels, and it doesn't look like they're pushing after all. But does Dano know he has the advantage, and do they have the confidence to push out of last? Real questions.
You've got to hope so. Like, this is damn near 50% advantage. They've still got this heavy who, even if he changes off at this point, is going to delay this push. I mean, I can't help but feel that Death Machines, they're just going to wait, and then they're still going to think they have Uber advantage when Cake's going to be getting his. They are going to be moving a little bit towards lobby, though, towards this shutter position.
Oh, they do try and make their way in, but they decide against it. Oh, the drop!
What?
As Kalistan gets it onto Dano just through river, he just walks up to him and 2 hits him. He's gone, and that is going to call for the blue team right now to build the rest of their Uber up off the back of Kalistan's massive drop.
I don't even know how that happens. There were so many players just standing around Danone, like even physically body blocking the damage, but well, it doesn't mean anything. Rockets were hit, and now Cake's going to drop as well.
Oh,
What is
plus
it?
twos
Soldiers are just
everywhere.
waddling!
They're just waddling up to medics and just fragging them when they have Uber, and they are dropping Uber. Both scouts are actually weak in the river right now, and they are just taking trades all over the place. There's 3 men left alive on the side of the blue team. They're not managing to get much done with this one, as the red team are just making their way back out now, realizing they have a man advantage.
I mean, that's about as much of a double disaster as you're going to get, and I mean, it does show the difference. You know, we already said about like scouts not playing particularly close to the hills, but when you're playing the kind of game where, you know, not everyone is the DM lords maybe you're kind of used to seeing, turns out that soldier class can at least relatively be a good bit stronger than in other divisions, you know? That ability to just have consistent splash damage, pretty important.
Very important indeed, but we are just seeing the teams position up, and the blue team once again, they are doing, Cake is probably calling these, as that's what medics tend to do, that they do have uber disadvantage right now, and they are making the same hold as they were before. It's a very good hold that they can just do, as they have to pop the Uber so early. We do see that, and they are all the way into mid. IMG is just leading the charge. Medic gets knocked around as IMG is now alone in the choke point, and they are just trying to bully their way through. Nonimo maybe getting a little bit ahead of himself, as Kalistan is now in onto Vorobray, but doesn't manage to find him on that pick. And Cake has now also popped out his Uber as well. They are onto outside, and they in fact block the cap. There is a scout just waiting under right now. Let's see if he can make anything happen. As he doesn't, and he finds Grey Hunter at Big Door. That's not the player you want to find. Canlock is all the way through as well, looking like he wants to get through straight onto second now. eepily. That mid fight was a little bit treacherous.
It really was, and honestly, from the point of view of 100 years, it's a little bit disappointing. There's obviously a good few players they could get there, but I feel like they could have got the same amount of frags and position without actually using. Like, I feel like if they were just a little bit kind of, you know, more coordinated together in terms of reading these Ubers in this position, they could be more ambitious in terms of trying to take points without using. Because there wasn't actually really much pressure on that choke point at all.
No, indeed. I didn't know where the sticky trap was. I didn't even clock where it was. But they can always just run a scout through, clear the trap, and then, you know, they don't have to use Uber, they just walk forwards. The soldiers were both on the nipple, so the only way that he was going to force was to spam rockets, which you can walk out the way of, or maybe a soldier bombing in, potentially. But who really knows? Like you said, too much space available, but they didn't really read it too well.
No, we're actually going to see a fairly equal push. It does seem like Death Machine's going to try and get out through the shutter. It's going to be another trade after losing their demo man, so bad for them. Cake's only just about going to use their Uber now, and this should just be a bloodbath.
Yeah, absolute bloodbath. As loads of players go down. Dano is 3 HP in River right now. Let's see if Massa can find the frag. Dano does get the health kit. No Name Mode actually puts on Kalistan as well to find that pick. And this scout's getting double team right now. Canlock and Top absolutely shred that scout. He goes down, and there is an Uber advantage now on the side of Cake. And Dano does actually manage to escape that one. So if they build really hard, they might be able to defend last with it.
Like, Danone is such a champ just there. Like, granted, the only real pressure was like that one demo who just wasn't quite hitting the pipes, wasn't quite hitting the stickies or whatever, but like, you know, shout out there. If they hold this is almost 100% as a result of Danone getting out.
Oh, indeed. They're actually, they're not building too well on the side of the blue team, as he's already got 5% extra against the medic, so it's now only a 50% advantage, and it's looking quite good for them, in fact, because they could just hold by the spawn door and sort of move back, rotate the spawn if they want to. They've got a heavy and a pyros, they've got some Uber block that could happen, but No Name Mode's really far pushed up, does find the frag with the flare gun right there, and a pill from Vorobray finds Canlock as well, and that is going to further delay the push right there, so those two picks really coming in crucial.
Yeah, it's basically going to result in us having an equal Uber situation here, and we haven't really seen anything from either of these teams in terms of sniper, in terms of spy, in terms of, you know, I mean, I think every force or drop play we've seen so far has just been as a result of people jumping at each other. And I mean, if it's working, like, go for it, but against a heavy and a pyro, I mean, you know, we are actually seeing a spy now from Canlock.
Grey Hunter goes solo right there. He's actually going to burn to death in a second, does find an arrow. And No Name Mode actually goes down. I didn't see how he died there, but there is actually Canlock, who is all the way in behind on Spy that I didn't notice. He's on the point. The Heavy is checking for a Spy, but let's see if he can get that backstab. He's moving up right now. He is on the point, in fact, and maybe he can get the stab. He's just going to go for the cap, actually. Pistol whips down the demo man, nearly gets the cap. There's so much cap time right now. For the side of the blue team, Grey Hunter unfortunately died as well, so maybe going to delay the push. They could just dive straight on the point though, eepily.
I mean, they could. It looks like they want to try at least something like that. Uber's going to get used. No, not quite yet using. Actually, this Heavy's just going to get dropped from point, and no, this is just going to be a cap from under their nose.
I can't believe it. How did... Oh, that spy play coming from Canlock finds the demo, gets that pick, gets loads of cap time, and just that provides the perfect opportunity for his team to come in. They just Uber through main, dive straight on the point, they know what they need to do, and they clearly were all on the same page during that last push, and it seemed that Red Team were a little bit scattered. But we are going to see another mid fight come out right now, and Vorabray making his way back into mid. Maybe he wants a little bit of revenge for that cheeky play that was done onto him by that spy. Outsider actually not managing to find the high ground. The soldiers only just coming up now. The low ground getting played quite a lot. Both scouts weak. Greyhunter finds the first frag onto no name mode, and Outsider making his way through drop down right now, trying to get him behind onto the enemy blue team. But Canlock there with a really good read, and Greyhunter actually finds the frag on that one. Kalistan now coming out from the low ground, as it is just 3 left alive on the side of the red team. A very, very slow mid coming up there, but very positive from the blue team.
I mean, 100%. It was 100 years just in complete control of that entire mid. They just waited for these Death Machine players to jump at them one by one. It's, you know, I don't want to necessarily call out the combo of Death Machine there, but they didn't really do anything. They just let their players jump in and had no interest in going forward.
Oh, nice. Oh, there you go. Greyhunter just jumps into the face of Danon, lands one crisp rocket straight on his dome, and he gets forced out. And Cake also pops the Uber in response. Danon actually getting killed right there. Gets popped up by Greyhunter. Greyhunter is doing so well in this game. Kalistan also trying to come in to defend the life of Cake. His no-name mode is actually in onto him right now. He goes down to 100 health, but no-name mode actually making his way out as the cap is going to come out. He's sneaking behind top right now, see if he can get anything done. As he tries to deny, doesn't really get it done. As there is still a fight happening on the second point, but he does get cleaned up there.
So we are going to see after all of that about a 40% Uber advantage for Cake. I mean, again, it was another one of those situations on Big Door where it's like, okay, is this going to be a trade? No, it's going to be a sack. No, it's going to be a trade as well. They're trading players, they're trading Ubers, like, everything seems to be happening at the same time, and I mean, I'm going to be a little bit optimistic and say maybe it's just like, you know, nerves, you know, one guy calls for, like, a trade and someone misinterprets that as, like, a go for a sack or something. Like, I'm going to assume that because it definitely doesn't need to be anywhere near this messy, and if just one team could just be a little bit more together in terms of what they want to do, they could just get so much mileage out of it.
I agreed, but with every single Grand Finals match, I'm sure that nerves are just going to come into it so strong. But it looks like the blue team are all on the same page, however, as they do pop out the super straight in, but they jump straight to the Pyro. The Pyro gets 3 reflects onto those rockets, and Cake is just committing though. Matzer is getting loads of stickies onto the point. Loads of damage being dealt. All the overheals, are now off, but Dano pops his Uber, and it looks like W+M1 is now activated. Top is left alone under the point. Matza does burn to death. And IMG is a pyro god, apparently, and they are making their way up the river. Oh my god!
Insane!
He gets the detonator kill!
I mean, this is the second last where this pyro's got like 3+ frags from just running around, just like buying enough time for his medic to get the Uber, and then just going like just full flame on, just absolutely doesn't care.
Was that a pyro reference right there with flame on? Just flame on and then press W and he just goes straight through river and kills everyone. But they have now got second, and it's looking like they're going to have a shift in momentum as the Ubers are now even. So let's see if Blue Team have identified this. They are not identifying this very well, actually. They are doing a passive hold when they could now be holding forward. In fact, they have a small Uber advantage, but they probably can work with it. So they can afford to hold close right now, but they are opting not to. What do you think is going to happen coming out of these teams, eepily? Make a prediction.
I mean, I think they're just going to wait, get equal Ubers, and like move up to choke, but I think it's important to note how, yeah, like 100 years is going full Lily Allen. They have the fear right now, and that just shows their mental state. They might be winning, but if they're that far back, because they're just terrified of, you know, what they must realize, like, if it was any disadvantage, it was going to be absolutely minuscule. I think they're seeing a lot of how Death Machine's just like flooding through chokes, and neither team seems to really be able to play these choke points correctly.
Ooh, Outsider is actually in. Outsider actually comes through drop down right there and lands 2 splash rockets onto Cake, but does not manage to get the force. Vorabray actually getting caught in choke right now. The Uber is popped. He goes down, and that's a 2-man, 3-man advantage even coming out from the blue side, and they now pop out the red Uber, but they've only got 3 players to work with. And also the soldier is left alone. He is taking so much damage, gets directed by Kalistan. Nice play from him. Greyhunter is now in, reading the situation so well, and they take all of it as they all go down. It's only Outsider left as a respawn, looking very positive for the blue team right now, as they are just going to march all the way into last. Kalistan getting a little bit ahead of himself, actually gets picked. The Pyro goes down, no name mode, unfortunately gets caught. Vorabray goes down as well. It's just Outsider behind the point right now. Canlock is trying his best to get onto him. Greyhunter lands the rockets, and that is another round for the blue team right there.
I mean, I feel like the most important thing in that entire engagement is just that, you know, your boy Slayman, he slayed his own team just then. I mean, they drop 2 guys towards choke. The Uber gets finally used, you know. You got to make the best out of a bad situation. And he jumps away from his medic to go towards Big Door. His medic's just terrified, trying to flash him, trying to get something done. And it ended up just soloing the entire Uber on a scout, which frankly, with all those different players, isn't really going to do anything.
Yeah, of course, we are seeing Outsider actually make a really high bomb straight up in, and Matza is actually caught in the choke. It's so aggressive on the right side mid, and they do manage to find the kills. Matza goes down, Top and Canlock are both down as well, but we do see Kalistan coming in. But a great deny from No Name Mode, totally denying that soldier, and this is probably going to allow them to take second for free.
Does look like just a little bit of an opportunity to try and get something more done on the side of Death Machine. Obviously, 2 rounds down, 7 minutes to go. You know, it isn't time to get super scared just yet, but they've got to try and make something work for them, because they, as much as they can, you know, they're winning a few of these engagements, more often than not, they're just kind of crumbling.
Yeah, they are indeed. I'm not sure what they can do to sort of like halt the bleeding, as it does seem to be hemorrhaging right now. But Outsider does get found and does go down, but they are opting for an engineer. So this is the first engineer we've seen of the game. Top actually manages to get his level 2 sentry gun down on the low ground, so we may see a little bit of a better defense coming out from the blue side in comparison to maybe the heavy, as the sentry gun does a really good job on Gully, especially at pinning players to the roof. I've had many bad experiences with it. But we are seeing the Uber come through right now, sorry as I interrupt you, and the sentry gun taking loads of damage, and the Uber's getting flashed all over the place. IMG just runs straight to the point and goes down immediately. Grey Hunter is alone in River, and this is a complete cluster right now. And there is actually cap time on the point right now as Outsiders managed to get to the point. Does not manage to find it as Kalistan does find the rockets.
I was just trying to keep up with what was going on there. I was going to say that gun's kind of position, you know, it's fairly easily spammable from main. They could go for some kind of sacks, they could do whatever, but I think both these teams are just allergic to sacking. They just want to push off just any tiny advantage. And I mean, I feel like we're seeing right now that doesn't really win you this game.
No, of course, but Mats are actually getting caught there as well as they try to make their way into mid way too early. They just seem to be bleeding players every now and again, like you said, and they need to find a way to all start getting on the same page between these points, as it has now just allowed the red team to get it for free. And Canlock is actually out or left alone. They are actually caught. Cake goes down. That is really unfortunate for the blue side, as it looks like red team are in a prime position right now to take another round. But as I say, that caster's curse, Grey Hunter finds Dano. But they are actually hemorrhaging players still, and they are all going down. They are going to make their way into last. It's just Matza left alive, and Vorobray is already in. He's trying to make his way to the point. Maybe a little bit too greedy as they do manage to get to the point, but it's just IMG versus the Demo Man right now. Matza is incredibly low. Outsiders there, and they are going to find the cap. That's the round. Going to deathmatch+5. 2-1 now with 5 minutes left on the clock. So
scrappy, and honestly, like, you can see the last pushes from Death Machine, they're not actually all that cohesive. There was actually one opportunity where it was just a missed debt on some stickies, and I think, you know, if we had Matza hit that, that would have been an easy hold. It doesn't seem like it's really Death Machine playing anything too different right now. It's just 100 years, they're starting to get sloppy.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little bit sloppy. Maybe the nerves are starting to get to them, but we are seeing a rather passive mid from both sides that just seem to be hiding out in their choke points. But Outsider is actually in and in drop down right there, and does manage to find a kill into Kalistan, which is pretty good. He does trade. Actually, the medic goes down. Vorobray finds the pipe onto Cake across the mid. Grey Hunter tries to respond. Unfortunately, gets caught there, and Top goes down. Grey Hunter getting cleaned up under the mid. Matza actually taking loads of damage to Big Door. IMG could chase, but decides not to, and decides to play with his team instead and just get the cap off and slowly make their way into second. Good job to not overextend there.
I mean, last mid I said I didn't want to call out the Death Machine combo for baiting. This mid I'm going to have to. I don't even think it matters the fact that they won the mid. I think what they won the mid off was some random pipes and the fact that, you know, one single player distracted the whole of 100 years. I feel like that could have been an even more dominating mid and the kind of thing they could replicate more frequently if the Death Machine combo actually started moving somewhere in mid. They stand in their choke, and sometimes they hit the random spam, sometimes they don't. I mean, I feel like they could be playing way more with their like aggressors.
Yeah, of course, but the Uber is now popped in right now, and Danon is just managing to keep all of his players alive through the sentry gun right now. But unfortunately, Vorobray does get found. Slayer Man is only on 6 health right now. Outsider is already playing the point. He decides to jump towards it. A great scattergun shot coming from IMG right there. Totally denies the enemy blue team soldier. He is just going to try and fish Grey Hunter on the point, but does not manage to find that kill. But that totally fizzled out, and Danon did die in that exchange, and Cake now has Uber.
It was good high ground play from the 100 years, you know. They're sensing the fact that Death Machine want to rush things, so the second those players start to go on the floor, 100 years is like, it's fine. We can play on the rim, we can play on the high ground, let the players come to us. We know they're going to try and play this point because they're not taking the position with their Uber. And I think that's so important, and it's exactly what they need in order to hold it. And now, we're getting to 2 minutes 45, and Death Machine, they have to get at least a round to bring this to Golden Cap.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're gonna try and get through Cake right now, though, is he does have Uber and they do just have to pop it out. It's popped rather early though on the big door, and Dano is actually really well positioned over at their big door. He's actually going to make his way out. Kalistan actually getting found by IMG. He's doing such a good job of tracking these soldiers. Outsider is actually really low right now on the small kit, but Slayman protects him as Canlock actually flies in with his medic now, and they are going to try and bully them out of this mid, but Dano actually eats a sticky, but he is making his way up. He's left alone though, and Vorobray just trying to back him up right now. Unfortunately takes too much damage. Canlock finds the frag, and Matza goes down though in the process. Canlock gets cleaned up as well. It's just Cake left alive on the point. Can No Name Mode take the 1v1 right now. They are taking 1v1s absolutely everywhere. Grey Hunter though, massive 2 frags on the Slayman and No Name Mode. Great job from him.
I mean, I'm pleased to see Grey Hunter just put a stop to this, because that was just so much just everyone running each other. No one took that time to just slow down and just play with their heals. We saw Danone just running around everywhere. Even Cake, there was about 2 opportunities where they could have died, but it's just, they need to relax, dude. Like, I'm getting stressed out. I'm sure they got to be stressed out at this point. Don't have to be like this.
The nerves are probably getting to both these teams, but they need, the red team now need a round, but they have a massive Uber disadvantage, and they only have 1:30 left on the clock. So they're really going to have to pull out the stops to make this one happen, as we do see No Name Mode make his way into drop down right now. He really must be aware of the time right now when Canlock immediately spots him out, understanding the depth of the situation already, and they do find that frag, and this could call for the push coming out from Cake, as they do have Uber advantage, but maybe they just want to play it safe and play the clock. Who knows?
I think 100% it's a smarter choice to just wait here, like try and go for some kind of trade, like if Death Machine's gonna push through choke, so just hold down that choke, even leave sticky stuff, don't even bother single detting, just wait, take this trade, make sure your players are in a super safe position at the end of it, and just trust it. This time's just going to go down and down and down, and this trade does look like it's coming in now.
And they are making their way in the trade. Yes, like you said, does happen. Cake goes actually really low right there, and it looks like the red team are just going to hold in, even though their Uber is worse. Kalistan actually coming back up though, lands loads of rockets, so much damage in choke, does find the frags onto the red side, just outside they're left alive, and you've got to call it now. That is probably it. There is 30 seconds left on the clock, and there's no way they can do this anymore, and it is probably a GG for this map.
I'm not going to say it was all down to it, because obviously it wasn't, but the spawning of No Name on the sniper there, when your team's going to be trading through choke, it's the exact definition of just like a complete lack of cohesion in terms of what the team wants to do, what their overall plan is. Everyone's just kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah, they're just playing for logs right now. Canlock is actually in. They actually want this round so bad, but they're not going to make it. It's 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, and that is it. The game is over. 2-1 to 100 years, where we didn't think that they were going to win this one, considering that they actually got destroyed by deathmatch in the open division this season.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, obviously we wouldn't have seen that first game, but clearly 100 Years is doing something completely different. And just to look at, obviously, both teams they're making their fair share of mistakes, but it does seem like quite consistently, at least in the second half of the game, 100 Years were getting a better read on Death Machine, and, playing these kind of mids where they let Death Machine kind of feed in one by one, like each initiation for Death Machine, it just seems like the rest of their players aren't going to go forward until they know that that's a good initiation. They're not going based off the distractions. They're trusting that one player is going to individually be able to do enough to, get 1 or 2 frags, and that's the point in which the rest of their team will go. And as a result, you can see these mids like, that mid they won at the end, I truly believe just came more down to random pipe spam, really. And it did actually anything you could replicate on a consistent basis.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that Cake got caught out. They did play very, very passive, and were in a position to receive that spam. Cake maybe a little bit out of position on their mid. But it does seem that they had clearly been practicing their positioning, as they had a consistent position for every single point of the map, and they knew what they were doing and understanding, all on the same page when they were holding. So you have to hand it to 100 Years that they have clearly been putting in the time. Whereas
100%.
yeah, but deathmatch+5 maybe relying a little bit too much on their deathmatch, you could say.
Ooh, that's a crispy one. I think we've got some logs to look at. Yeah, let's have let's have a little bit of a look. See, obviously, first thing which is gonna come to mind. I mean, we saw Grey Hunter making some pretty good individual plays, some pretty good,
Yeah.
different attempts here and there. But I mean, 29 for 14. I feel like just if you look at the kind of the damage and the frag amounts, which is going to a lot of these explosive classes, yeah, we're still seeing scouts do a decent amount, but they're definitely not having that same impact we see in higher level games. And I feel like teams are playing more around their soldiers.
Yeah, we did see that actually in the low games. Hunter did such a good job of reading the game, staying with his medic as much as possible, realizing that Ubers mean everything. And you can see that because Cake only died 6 times because he managed to get so many denies onto so many players, and Danon died 13 times. Not for his fault though, as we did see Danon escape so many times out of mids, out of poor positions. Actually went down to 3 HP in River and still lived just by juking away from the demo and surfing nicely. So you have to hand it to both of these medics this game, but Grey Hunter was definitely the MVP for me.
I think for me, my MVP is going to go to, I would imagine possibly Cake, but just whoever's main calling right now for 100 years, because exactly what you said, while things might get really scrappy in these intermediate fights, the fundamental positioning for 100 years is just really, really solid. They may not have the best reads on Ubers, and sometimes they're playing a little bit, too passive, or they're playing a little bit too aggressive, whatever, but they really know how they want their team to be playing, at least in these stable moments. And I think right now that's making the difference.
Yeah, you're damn right, man. You're damn right. But
You're right
these
when you're right.
you're right when you're right indeed. But I think the one thing that I do want to see out of these teams is I want to see a little bit more creativeness on the Ubers, because they do just seem to be, let's stack all of our players into one place. For both sides, this is. They just stack all their players into one place and just Uber through one shutter door or through big door, or just sort of like pile all in. If they split up their players and actually called for the flank to maybe take a little bit more of a delayed approach on the way in, and then maybe meet up with the rest of the team and cause distraction plays, maybe that could do a little bit more dividends for the side of both of these teams. What do you think?
100%. I agree. I think the way the way that they're playing with Ubers and the way they're kind of the value they're placing upon the Uber isn't really high enough, and it isn't the kind of thing, like it's been the same kind of feeling in most of European TF2 for a long time now, where Ubers are valued really, really highly, and you'll lose a guy or two or three sometimes for the sake of getting Uber because you know how powerful that Uber can be. And right now, it just seems like they're kind of giving away those Ubers just a little bit too easy, for one frag or, for like a tiny bit of positioning or, stuff which doesn't really equate to the value of an Uber. And I think really they could take that opportunity to value their own, but also realize that these holds from either team, they're not perfect. You don't have to go for a full Uber trade to break through a choke point. Actually, these holds aren't perfect, so there's much more they can do in just in terms of actually playing for, a little bit of creativity with some sacking, or just, sack a guy and maybe like spam a little bit more with it. Because these medics, they seem like they're constantly ready to use anyway. They're waiting for the opportunity to use the Uber, and I feel like just a little bit of faking out, especially after you spent an entire game trading Ubers. If you jump a soldier through now, spam a couple pipes with him as well, I think that medic's going to use, and you can just play back and just play that Uber advantage.
Yeah, totally agree. Another thing that I actually want to say as well, I totally forgot about this, but the roamers on both sides, Kalistan and I think it was outside who was roaming, I can't really remember. Um, those soldiers did a really, really good job of just managing to find the holes in the teams, but unfortunately we're getting spotted out. But that's just because of some really good calls from either side, understanding where they need to watch at the right times, and knowing the map, I think, a little bit more. But speaking of new maps, we are now on to a new map pick, which is we are going to see CP Sunshine. Are you a fan? I'm a fan.
I think Sunshine's definitely it's a really interesting map to see different teams play on, because as much as it's been in the map pool for seasons and actually like years now, like it hasn't been there every season, but like everyone's known the format for quite a while now. They know the layout, they know
Yeah.
the vast majority of how to play it. It's still considered at least a little bit of a wild card because it's not been in the game for like 8 years basically. And even though there are players who would have started their TF2 career after Sunshine joined, those resources, that ability to, talk to people and try and like learn the map is so much less than something for, something like Process or Gully or like Badlands or something. That ability to kind of, feed off other people's knowledge, it isn't anywhere near set in stone. So you just tend to see some weird stuff happen on Sunshine. People try really different things, and I feel like this could be a really, really good opportunity for, I believe this was 100 Years pick, I think it was. I would imagine there's got to be a reason why they picked Sunshine. Maybe it's something, that they thought exactly like that. Most teams won't have prepared for it. So maybe they're thinking, even just going into the season, we'll prepare really well for this map and trust that everyone else is just going to be focusing on the fundamentals, and then we're just going to come and get some nice, easy wins on a map like Sunshine.
Yeah, it's getting, especially on like the Sunshine Week. I know what we did during our officials as well when we were playing is we just essentially we saw Sunshine in the pool. We practiced it loads. I think we got like I think it was like 12 scrims in before the game even hit, and well for Sunshine, and we managed to get some stuff going on this map that people wouldn't really realize. There is a lot of places within this map that you can find a lot of opportunities you can create just with sack plays. Like you said before, we want to see some more sack plays coming out from these teams. So maybe they've created some kind of strategy to get what you want in this game, eepily. Who knows?
I feel like if genuinely 100 years have gone into this thinking, okay, Sunshine's our good map, right? We've come up with some really creative sack plays. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna trade Ubers for the whole of map one, make Death Machine become complacent, and then do some dope sacks in map two. Then that's literally like 5,000 IQ, and they deserve to like win open and probably prem, to be honest.
It deserves to beat 7. Is that the criteria?
I mean, at least give them a shot.
Yeah, I mean, well, maybe that's what Connor's doing. He's like, if I pretend to drop all the time, or actually drop all the time, maybe they won't realize it in the final and I won't drop any Ubers. Who
I
knows,
have
man?
no comment.
That's not a burn. He just throws them out a lot. Maybe in not the best situations, but I'm looking forward to seeing Sunshine. To be honest, any predictions on score lines?
I think based on how much discussion there was talking about different servers and stuff, I think this is gonna be at least a decent bit better for Death Machine. I'm pretty sure it was Death Machine which was complaining about the server. They seen, someone was saying, I've got like 130 ping. This is like ridiculous. And the rules goes, you do one on each map, or, I have no idea how they decide the first map, whatever. Either way, they played one on, I believe, the 100 Years server. Now I think we're going to be on Death Machine server. So you would imagine if it's going to be their time to shine and, really bring out what kind of led them to win 5-0 against these guys in the regular season, like maybe this ping difference is going to help them a lot.
Yeah, potentially. But I don't really want to see the battle of ping. I want to see the battle of skill, which is why I'm such a massive fan of LANs. Speaking of LANs, Copenhagen Games did sponsor us for this entire season. And are you looking forward to Copenhagen Games? Because I know I am, man.
That was incredibly smooth. Of course I am. It's going to be
Thanks.
absolutely fantastic.
The smoothest segue you've ever seen into a plug. I was probably
It was beautiful.
I should probably talk about STN Trading as well, since I haven't spoken about them yet. STN Trading is a wonderful place for you to sell some of your online pixels for real-world hard cash, as well as buy your own in-game pixels for real-world cash if you feel like going that way. But hopefully, we're going to be getting into this game soon, as I'm getting hella bored of watching DM.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot you can really learn from just watching people spawn randomly and then die to sticky traps. We do have 12 people on the server. I think it's, we always say it, almost every game I've ever said about it's like, oh yeah, it's going to come down to this first mid. But it genuinely makes such a difference to dictate the pace of the game. If we see Death Machine come out and just wipe 100 Years on this like first mid, it's just going to completely negate any momentum 100 Years has after winning that first map. It's going to completely turn everything on the head, and it's going to make things really, really interesting. I mean, I'm kind of just rooting for Death Machine here purely on the basis of I want to see a third map, because I have not seen a third map in the grand finals yet
Yeah,
that
I
I've
haven't
casted.
either. Like it was a big stomp yesterday on nighttime sixes when they won out against Flowlout, in a pretty clean game, I'd say, as they did win 5-0 and then won 3-1 on Product. That was a really
Good
good game
lord.
to watch. If you want to rewatch that one back, you can find it in the videos section of Team Fortress TV if you feel like it. And we also want to thank you once again for tuning in this evening, guys and girls. And we do have like all of our gamers in the server, and we do see DM+5 ready up right now. So we are now live, eepily. Are you ready?
I'm feeling it, dude. Let's go.
Let's go! And we are seeing the both teams spawn now, and they are making their way in towards mid. I'm going to be following Matt for this one, as he's been doing quite well in his rollouts, nice and consistent so far. And as I say that, he fluffs his rollout. So Caster's Curse already coming into effect. They are just going to start trading off their stickies right now, and we are seeing all the red team flood in from choke right now. Outsider taking some early damage, but the position being taken by the blue team right now. They are all over this mid, and the red team are so passive. They have not got any ground. Slayman tried his best. Does find Kalistan. They do find the first frag of this game, and Top also going down as well, but Slayman getting caught out as well. And No Name Mode actually making his way into the mid, just sneaking in, but it looks like red team had no position there.
I mean, absolutely not. It just seemed like Danone took so much damage really early on that they just kind of had to back out because, you know, Danone was scared, then suddenly the hills went forward, then the rest of the team had to go back. And I mean, I hesitate to say it, but it does look like exactly the same as what we saw in Gully, where the Death Machine combo just doesn't really know what they're doing, and they're just standing around hoping for their aggressive players to get 3 frags, and then they can walk in and just like secure it, you know? That combo's not trying to win the mid, they're just trying to secure it when the other players are winning it for them.
Yeah, of course, but we are just in a stalemate once again. Like we said before, we want to see these creative sack plays come out, and we are seeing a sack play come out from Kalistan actually as he makes his way really deep in. Greyhunt, that was only a distraction as Greyhunter comes in through choke, but he decides to back away as he sees all of the players bunched up in choke right there. They are in a good position to block all of this, and it is still even Ubers.
It is. I mean, I feel like Greyhunter did have an opportunity there. He just kind of jumped halfway to choke, spammed a couple directs, and was like, yeah, have that, and then just jumped away again. So, not quite sure what the plan was.
He does, Kalistan actually finds 2 rockets on Tavarobre there, both of them directs, and does land another direct on the outsider, choking his health away, maybe trying to land it on Danon. It was a bit of a get down Mr. President moment. But killing the demo man can call for a push on this map, as the choke point is now open, but they are making their way through flowers right now. It looks like they want to take an Uber driver on Canlock, and both Ubers now popped out. Top takes loads of damage, the Ubers have been flashed around. More flashes coming out from the red side though. Cake is actually getting body blocked right now. Well played from the red team as they try and block him in. Outsider getting aggressive now, moving forward through flowers. IMG is actually in through mid, and they managed to deny him nicely, but unfortunately No Name Mode finds the answer as well in the chaos, and Greyhunter finds the kills. Canlock actually manages to find a kill of his own. Slayman going in deep, finding Canlock as well. Greyhunter going down to the stickies of Tavarobre as well, but the meta getting picked up as Kate goes down. Kalistan actually getting found as well.
Oh my god, what a rocket onto Danone! That's ridiculous. I mean, okay, if he doesn't hit that, I think this is literally a case of just Death Machine going straight to last, but that was actually the crispiest direct, and he was already dead by that point. That rocket was gone. It was beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful, man. I'm so happy for Kalistan. Like I said last game, these roamers managing to find the holes and making their way in, and we are seeing, based off the back of Kalistan's massive play, that they now have Uber advantage. They also have a small heal advantage, not too much. They have more players overhealed than the other team right now, but they are finding the damage and managing to bully red team out of mid right now. They are taking all of the ground. So much room has been taken for free. This map has such a wide choke, but outsider just tries to rocket jump and does kill himself as he gets a combined spam by the soldiers.
It does seem like every opportunity Death Machine has to just try and get out alive, you just want to feed at least one. It definitely doesn't seem like people are getting the memo in terms of these calls. Maybe someone needs to shout a little bit louder, maybe needs to give themselves priority speaker or mumble or something like that. But on the good side of things, we have, I think if you look at the movement of the 100 Years soldiers just then, they were so coordinated in getting to that Tetris. You know, granted, they're going to the exact same spot, they could get potentially spammed down a lot, but their timing is really solid, and they know they have a clear objective: take the high ground, make sure Death Machine can't walk back in through Cafe, and they're executing it really well.
Yeah, holding the cafe area is such a strong objective to be able to hold on this map, to be honest. Used quite a lot by a lot of teams. So Kalistan actually managing to find his way in, finds the rockets onto Danon. Well played from him. Once again, Kalistan is really showing up in this grand final, and Danon has now forced, so they are trying to make their way through as Slayer Man is actually really deep, does find the force himself. But all of the red team commit for this one, unfortunately, as the scouts are just in the double scout Uber, like I said, so potent against the non-Uber players. And No Name Mode left alone, just getting piped by Matt. So big pokes coming out from him as Outsider makes his way back now. He's just trying to escape through Cafe, and they are starting the second cap already, however. And holy moly, Outsider, wow, that was impressive.
Canlock just got absolutely deleted out of the server. I mean, I don't even see the necessity to chase it. It was looking so good for 100 years, and I mean, Matt is just about going to live there. But that could have been one of those situations where you get frags, get more frags, ignore the guys behind, and just go forward. And as much as there is now a player advantage for 100 years, the spawn is going to be up pretty quick, so they've got to be super fast. And I don't think they're going to feel like they can do it.
Yeah, they're not really in the position to take this one, but they do have the Uber advantage, so that is something that they can play with. I think Cake will be aware of this one. And IMG actually get found there by Grey Hunter. His rockets are so good to manage to knock out these scouts. And Grey Hunter is actually reading it so well. Going in for a counter attack, trying to find another ping, but does not manage to find outside, unfortunately. Top actually tries to commit in with him. Is like, please, no, don't die without me. And they actually do find 2 picks in the end there, eepily.
It was again another one of these situations where they were like, cool, let's commit, let's not commit. I mean, now we're losing Vorobey in just the weirdest situations. Okay, this Uber's coming in. Danone's on about 75%. We've already dropped 1 frag on each team, so it's just so scrappy. 3 versus 3. We have both scouts playing towards point. Danone's gonna die now. All they need to do is just play super slowly, but this one soldier, Slayman, might actually be able to clutch it out. Pop has to hit so little damage, and it does look like they're gonna play towards point before Vorobey can get there, but good lord, did they make it difficult for themselves.
They did indeed. They split up so hard. Matzo actually decided he was going to go through the left door. Got killed immediately on the start of the Uber. And luckily for them, Grey Hunter bombs in, knocks players around, deals the damage that's necessary, and they managed to camp that one out. And that means we're going to get a second mid fight, but that does mean a 1-round advantage right now for 100 years. Looking very good for them coming into this last grand final, well, second to last grand final game potentially. And Kalistan is actually taking the high ground really early. Does take loads of damage right there. Does take an arrow from Cake though, so Cake did a good job of healing up his players. Takes loads of damage once again though. They do have all of the high ground. Matsu actually getting found there. Vorobey does find the kill as well. And blue team are going to make their way out of mid right now. A very positive choice from them to manage to get out nice and early as they do find Outsider on the exit.
I think it's gonna be really interesting to see whether Death Machine want to kind of almost over chase here. We do have, you know, a tiny Uber advantage for them, but they love busting through these choke points. I feel like there's a serious opportunity for them to just start moving slowly and at least force 100 years out again. 100 years have been shown at this time, you know, that they're very afraid of getting caught out here. And actually, Cake going towards a shutter, just about getting this Uber, but quite a nice, clean little free take. But now we're actually just seeing the same kind of trade again, this repush.
Yeah, the same repush as before. They are just deciding to Uber straight through the shutter and then try and take the trade on Danone. And they do actually get the trade there, but Kalistan, so good, finds IMG, does find the kill. Outsider actually finding the trade, however. It means 2 down on the side of the red team. And Cake actually has a smaller Uber advantage, but they've already committed Canlock to the engineer, so it looks like they are just going to be content with holding last right now.
I mean, it's, you know, it's about a 15% advantage max, and it's super difficult to get out through that bulk position and take that space all before Danone's going to be getting this Uber, so 100% makes sense, you know. And as much as it's a little bit of a, you know, not the most exciting way of doing things, they are a round up, you know. They can afford to play just a little bit slow. They're going to be having a gun, having a heavy, and they're going to force Death Machine to try and make something work here. So there's no off classes up really in terms of an aggressive off class, no snipers, spies, anything like that. We're going to have to see some just, you know, fairly standard cookie cutter classes, but try and make something more effective than a trade, because they can. I truly believe there's no way Death Machine just walk in when there's a heavy and a gun and get any kind of beneficial Uber trade.
Yeah, of course. Do you reckon we're just seeing Crowns versus Full Tilt right now? They're just parked on last with a 1-round advantage, and that's all they're going to do for the rest of the game. They have still got 21 minutes to make something happen, however. But they are just making their way in through lower right now, as they have found the point that they want to come through with the cookie cut classes, like you said. IMG just find the frag onto Grey Hunter really early, and he gets traded out to the heavy. And Kalistan is in so deep, gets so much damage! Finds the frag onto Danone. That's seriously what they needed. No Name Mode only just getting out. He does so much damage, eepily.
He did, and honestly, the second I saw that push, I was listening back my own words of there's no way this equal Uber push works, and I was just a little bit scared, but no, 100 years pulls through, playing things super smart, not going for any ridiculous crazy chase, and just, you know, they got that soldier and they got that frag onto Danone. Now they can just deal with these 1-by-1 players on second. That's 2 more frags. There's absolutely no reason why they can't now start thinking about, let's go towards choke, you know, let's start trying to take some position, or even these players on a flag who are just playing way too far forward, you know. It's really, everything's in the court of 100 years. They have every single advantage they can play off, so they can just afford to slow things.
Outsider just decides to do a high bomb in. Very nice play from him, but unfortunately doesn't find any rockets. Nice jump though, however, but both of those scouts going down, but there is now a kill on the side of the blue team, so let's see if Kalistan's going to make his way in. He's actually in really deep right now onto Dano. Finds 1 rocket, finds 2. Unfortunately, the scouts are there to kill him and clean him up. So Dano is really low right now, but Cake actually has a small Uber advantage. They don't know it's there, however, as they are still holding in a really passive position right now. Opting to just hold back behind the point, let them use their Uber all the way in, maybe, and let them take the fight to them.
Definitely interesting how 100 years aren't really playing anyone too much towards Cafe consistently. They occasionally have a soldier kind of peek, a demo kind of peek. We see another sack coming in again, And actually, Cake's going to use incredibly early. Absolutely no reason to use there.
Yeah, very questionable. Didn't take any damage. Maybe blocked one rocket with the Uber, but really didn't need to pop it as the players were there to support him. Maybe feeling a little bit unsafe and a little bit wary there, but it looks like blue team are going to come through. And they pop out the Uber really early. No need to pop there either. No one even checks for sticks because they don't care. Matza is actually in beneath the point right now. Trying his best to stay alive. He's 1v1ing OMG right now. He can't manage to find anything, just whip out the pan to try and get the kills, then in mode actually finds the kill himself. But Canlock is actually in as well and does find the kill there. There are just players all over the place. Everyone's weak, but there are 3 down on the side of the red team right now, so total disaster for them. No cap time either.
No, this is... it's about as bad as it could really go, other than actually just losing a medic, and I think outside of he's going to get taken down, and Danone isn't in a particularly safe location. There's only 3 guys up. There's no reason why 100 Years can't just walk through this choke point, and it does look like they're going to, but they're taking things really, really slowly.
Look at Kalistan's position right now. He is taking such good position on these maps. He really understands the pace of Sunshine, and they're doing so well. And Grey Hunter actually in with a high bomb, really bullying out the sniper from no-name mode. And Kalistan is actually in all the way onto second right now.
Lord.
He's getting so much damage and actually finds Danone in no-name mode as well. What's going to happen? An outsider actually manages to clean him up in the end, but Matza is all the way in already. And we are seeing Vorabray coming deep from behind. They don't know he's there yet, but he's taking so much damage from his own jump. Top in, well, Grey Hunter's now actually spotted him out, and they do pop out the Uber. Cake once again, though, popping the Uber so early, and that is going to negate all the advantages that they gained, and they're only going to get second with this one.
I mean, only second and some fairly significant frags. Like, it is demo down on the side of Death Machine, so if there's an opportunity to go in terms of off Uber, it is now, and it does look like they want to start moving through top right, dealing with this gun. So really, really good stuff in terms of taking this position, but how do they play this? Do they play it slow enough to actually try and get this cap time?
They're getting so much cap time already, though. They did just sit a scout straight on the point. They cleared the stickies off the point while you get knocking away the cones. Canlock can play the point right now. It's totally open. If he walks on it, they can get it, but no, the Pyro's there. Unfortunate for them, he does actually find the counter Pyro, but Matza is
What
in.
a champion!
Finds the pill onto Slayman, and they do get the round. It's 2-0 now.
I mean, 100%, I didn't think, you know, between Canlock and his medic, they were really going to just about clutch that. There was an opportunity, but they didn't quite hit it, but Matza coming in right at the end with about 3 really crispy pipes, making all the difference. And I mean, it's another map. It's looking good for 100 Years here. Death Machine, they've really got to they got to step it up. They got to make things work. And I think that starts right now on this mid. Vorabay and his medic, they need to start moving forward and help the rest of their team.
They do indeed. Dano is actually still in that really passive position. They're not really taking any position on this mid. Once again, Kalistan getting all the position, although he does get caught out by them, but not before trading loads of rockets with the enemy soldiers. As Matza does find the frag onto Nemo deep within their choke. Grey Hunter finds IMG. There's no scouts inside the red team, and Outsider is still really low in the cafe area. And they are just going to take this mid again. Once again, they're just taking all of the initiative in this game.
They really are. And I think it would be really interesting to see the kind of stat of how many players on Death Machine die after Vorabay and Danone have already left through choke. Because that's something which is really, really consistently happening. Their combo is basically getting out, but their flank just doesn't know or just doesn't react to it. So they play way too far in, and they die, and it just causes one mistake after another. Thankfully, they did trade enough frags to at least make this equal.
Kalistan gets the fourth! He gets all the way in through choke, and is gonna... Oh, he almost lives there, almost finds the health kit, but my god, that was such a good start coming out from him. Great read, saw Danone out of position, makes the jump, no one looks at him, he gets through, they now have a bigger Uber advantage, but Slayman's actually in, but the Uber has already popped as Cake goes through. Actually, they're getting wrapped right now, and the red team is pretty much all behind them. 3 players are behind, 4 players in front. They are finding the kills, as Matza gets killed as well. It's just Grey Hunter versus the world. Can he take it? Eats an arrow, though. Nice arrow from Cake to keep him alive. Outsider is actually solo right now. They're actually going to win this one. That is amazing, coming out from the deathmatch of the blue side. Oh my god.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't expect that. I thought the rap play was really, really smart. They saw that the demo for 100 Years was just playing a little bit too far away from his team. I thought that was going to be, you know, nice, easy pick, and then maybe they kind of do some kind of repush. But things got super scrappy. But I mean, you know, shout out 100 Years. They really pulled through with just a situation which it really didn't seem like they had any right to win.
Yeah, of course. Nono is actually up on sniper right now, though. However, is hitting the headshots right now. As oh my god, he finds 1 kill and then 2 kills. Most soldiers are down, and then Canlock gets found as well in the choke, and Cake goes really low. 9 HP right now, and Vorabray is all the way in trying to find that frag, but does not manage to get it. And they will retreat with their medic all the way out. And no-name mode actually is peeking so deep on the sniper right now from Flowers, but does not manage to find anything. And Top actually was going to get nearly killed as well there, eepily.
This is definitely going a little bit crazy right now. I mean, both teams are just kind of yeah, they're kind of taking off any of the training wheels. They're just trying to commit right now. We do actually have Danone on crits right now. This crits is up. They're ready to start moving through this choke when they have a sniper and a crit. I mean, this is taking me back to some of the old days, some of the glory days of some of the Russian teams in Prem where they just didn't care.
Yeah, of course. Those Russian teams, they really are just known for their bully strategies. That's all I'm going to say. Oh my god, the headshot from Canlock. Canlock is now up on the sniper, finds Vorobray. Kritzkrieg is popped out from the red team right now as Dano unfortunately gets cleaned by Calistan right there. He once again read it so well, just dived straight, found the kills. But Cake has to pop out the Uber as he does get forced, and Slayer Man Forever is actually in behind right now. Players scattered absolutely no-name mode is actually all the way in as Canlock has to fight the scout, and they are so split up right now. Matza unfortunately not managing to find Cake too early, and Cake is just out alone right now, and Outsider is actually going to find him as well in the low. Well played from Outsider there. Now they're going to have an Uber advantage on the side of the red team.
Everyone is literally everywhere. At this point, there's fights taking place in, I think, literally every corner of every part of the map. It's just absolute carnage. Outsider's still actually living towards low. He's now going to take a little 1v1. Okay, he'll die. There's a few moments to just at least relax. We do once again have the super advantage on the side of Death Machine, and they still have the sniper. So, I mean, like, they're still on crits. They still got the sniper. I can only imagine at this point they're thinking, okay, things are getting a little bit desperate. There's still 30 minutes on the clock, but they're going to play, like, not that there's any shame in it. They're going to play the tilt tactics. If you get crits upon and then you die to a headshot, you're annoyed.
Yeah, Canlock was building there and then just got peeked from Flowers as no-name mode finds the kill. They haven't actually decided to opt for a soldier up there right now, as they do have Uber Disad. I think they read the Kritzkrieg play coming out. And Outsider is all the way in nice and deep, does bomb, does not find the medic. He's probably calling to his team right now. But Calistan is all the way into Dano. Dano forces the crits for some reason, and they do find the kill onto Dano. He's now gone. Uber advantage for the side of Cake and the heal advantage as well, as no-name mode is peeking really deep right now. IMG is making his way in, however, finding the frags, but Top is cleaning up Slayman forever, and no-name mode goes down to the Rockets of Grey Hunter. But Vorobray also finds Top, Outsider finds Canlock, and they are actually going to take this cap right now. Uber advantage in the side of Cake still, as he has full Uber, but IMG is in. Grey Hunter finds the frags, and we did see Grey Hunter take that 1v5 before, saying I've popped out this Uber onto Outsider, nearly finds the Rocket, so close right there as Outsider does crater, and they do manage to cling on to what they have left as second.
Again, one of those situations where everything is good for 100 years, and then a couple of their players, they just over chase, and then the combo's nowhere near with them, and then, I mean, they did use his Uber to just about kind of salvage the situation. They did get 2 frags. They should know at this point, this perma-crits, perma-sniper is just happening right now, okay? You can't keep peeking these sightlines. You've got to play just that little bit differently. And to be honest, I feel like at this point, they don't even need to, like, push off Uber at any point now, you know? Death Machine are making all the mistakes they need. They don't even seem to be playing these crit advantages particularly on point. So build these Ubers, get the invincibility up, you know, just slow things down.
Oh, Calistan had such good positioning. He understood where the sniper was going to be and where the enemy soldiers were going to come through. And frags both of them. They don't even see him, but it is even players either side now thanks to Calistan's play. And unfortunately, the top got killed, but the sniper is now down. He's only just respawning. But Dano now has the Kritzkrieg, and they are going to make their way in right now. They still haven't popped it. Is it still Kritzkrieg? Yeah, it is still a Kritzkrieg, yeah. And Grey Hunter is just holding on top right now, holding nice and passive, understands the situation. Cake has Uber, but unfortunately Canlock goes down, and IMG also gets fragged in return to Matza. But Dano drops the Kritzkrieg, unfortunately, as Grey Hunter and Calistan find the frag onto him. Such a good job coming out from these soldiers to read the game so well.
I think definitely, like, again, it's such a weird push. There was a really good opportunity to try and get some like crits towards a shutter, but they didn't have their demo. They only had a soldier and a scout on the side of Death Machine anywhere near their medic, and I just feel like we've seen one crit so far on a scout, another crit which looked like it was ideal situation going to be used on a soldier, and none of them really made sense in the situation. It seems like they want to play the crits, but they're just not quite sure of how.
Slayman tried to go for a sack right there, and he managed to find air, so he didn't find anyone. And they are now coming in through choke, peeking a little bit aggressively. Outside is like, nope, it's my turn now. Gets onto Cake, finds one rocket, only just misses the second, however. But we are seeing Vorobray. Oh, the drop! Oh, Vorobray, what a sticky! He just carpet bombs him so hard. Dano actually getting almost fragged right there, but what a play from Vorobray. Nice jump from him.
I mean, it's the absolute, you know, huge, ridiculously high jump, full commit, but I feel like he read that situation. He feels like, you know, I think Cake's got to this point where they've used so many times to just random little stuff. That was just one of those. Okay, I'm not dropping here. I'm not using here. I'm not. I'm gonna have control, but.
Cake got killed on the respawn right there. He actually got collapsed upon by a soldier and then a scout straight afterwards, and then he just went down. So that is now uber advantage on the side of Danun. And let's see if they can now start making stuff happen. They have 10 minutes left on the clock. Kalista now gets killed. This is going to be good for the side of the red team, and Grey Hunter is actually in so deep right now, maybe a little bit overzealous, but actually still lives, and Slayman nearly frags himself there on his face. And Outsider actually finding the kills as well on the mid fight as he finds Matza. Top is defending mid valiantly right now and left alone, but does eat a sticky and is going to get cleaned up in the choke right now by the scattergun of IMG. So looking really positive for the red team right now. Let's hope that they can get a counter around it.
I feel like right now I'm gonna have to put a robe on, grow my hair out, and just preach the gospel of togetherness for the side of Death Machine. Because good God, like. They have another fantastic advantage. Yeah, they're playing with a sniper, whatever. You can play the sniper anywhere in terms of this last push. Just make him be annoying. Just trust that you have this advantage and just work with the rest of your team for the push. Don't have people running in randomly to their side. Trust in your advantage to do what an advantage is going to do, and then let the rest of your team come in and just, deal with the rest of it.
Yeah, it looks like they are going to Uber him to the right side right now, trying to get onto top really early with the Super, trying to focus him down. He does eventually die, but the Uber has now fainted, and they don't really have much with this one, but Grey Hunter doing the best he can, getting onto the enemy players. They're also weak right now. Kalista coming in, finding the demo pick, and then Slayer forever does come in, and they do actually get a counter round on the board. This is exactly what they needed and a momentum swing right now, as they do have 8 minutes 30 to get 2 more rounds on the board and take this game.
100% doable, and the way they did it was almost exactly what I said. They played that little bit slow. Again, it wasn't absolutely perfect, but they played way more to bait 100 years towards the point. They didn't focus all that cap time, and importantly, they didn't all take 1v1s. They focused down the players far better and actually used that Uber to get some significant damage, which buys you opportunity, which buys you that ability to start forcing them towards the point.
Yeah, indeed. Kalistan actually goes in deep into Cafe, and they commit loads of players with Grey Hunter actually getting knocked off the high ground now by Outsider, and they've already lost 2, and they're going to have to make their way, call that 4 in fact, as back-to-back kills coming out from the red team. They really have got this momentum swing, and No Name Mode is actually in cake right now. Can he find the frag? They do find the frag, but Matt also goes down. That is a wipe as Kalistan only just spawns, and there's a massive Uber advantage on the side of Danin right now, and they are in fact on Uber right now, so this is only good for their team right now. Huge momentum swing.
We saw literally one tiny little mistake from Cake, just instead of going towards Shutter, he moved towards lower, and I truly believe that just didn't give him the time to get to Shutter to allow his demo to sticky him out, and now we have this huge Uber advantage coming in from the left-hand side. 1 frag already, but this Pyro is actually doing a lot, along with this 450 heavy.
Oh no, maybe getting a little bit overzealous right there as they do Uber really early and get totally denied by the Pyro. Slayman forever still caught in and does go down. 3 players down either side right now, and I think that they're just going to opt for a last hold as Cake has only got a teeny tiny ad to work with. So we are just going to see another last hold right here. What do you want to see out of red team in order to get through this even Uber then?
So they've got this equal Uber. I feel like first things first, they don't want to rush things. They don't want to, go in when they're on about 50, 60% like into lobby and start picking things, because you might make mistakes, you might lose your medic, whatever. That's the absolute disaster. They've already got that off class. They can just, take that time to get this Uber. They don't even need their flank peeking around lobby just yet. No one needs to be fully committed. You get this Uber, you play around your sniper, you give him the beam, then maybe they start peeking some different angles, There's some good sightlines from low, there's some good sightlines from top right if you can get your demo to sticky them out a little bit, buy yourself some position and at least get that information for where the medic's playing. But it actually doesn't seem like 100 years care about any of that, because they're just going to come through Shutter.
Yeah, Borobar actually goes down as well, and IMG getting killed. But the Ubers have been popped down from both sides right now. Nenome going very low as well, as Kalistan does get on top of him and manages to find that frag too. Grey Hunter is all the way in deep, straight onto Dano, trying to find that frag, but doesn't manage to find anything, as Slayman does such a good job of eating all those rockets first, but Matza finds the kill and low with the pan to Outsider, and it looks like they're trying to back all the way around, but Top is there on heavy, and can he do this? Eating so much damage right now. Oh, Canlock is in. Gets all of it. Also, Cake trying to find the Sora as well, but does not manage to find anything. But they do successfully hold this one, as they do manage, with the Canlock spawn, they find it.
I mean, I was a little bit scared. It didn't seem like that heavy was quite going to hit everything, but he did actually live through that. And then, yeah, like I said, Canlock coming in was just so important.
Yeah, we are just seeing another stalemate take place, however, but Cake has Uber advantage. So, will they be comfortable enough to get out with this one? It's a pretty large one, so as long as they don't get headshot by No Name Mode, Castus Cost is about to hit me in the face as he is peeking really wide, finds the angle, but misses! Oh no, he shoots again! Oh no, Matsu only just gets it onto him and does manage to find the frag. So Uber Advantage retain their eepily, and squeaky bum time is now over.
Well, I think it is for all of about 10-15 seconds. I feel like 100 years they're going to want to push out here, but I mean, this is another like really early use, and they haven't done a great job of dealing with players going behind them. They've got to be so aware of this backhand potential, and actually, I mean, they are getting these frags towards point, so everything does look like it's going pretty well, but it's still not quite as clean as you'd like.
Yeah, Grey Hunter did such a good bomb in there really late once the fight was starting to end and finds all of the frags that they needed. And Grey Hunter once again finding no-name mode and doing such a good job of just getting in on this flank, killing the players he needs to kill in order to keep Cake alive. But unfortunately, Cake did die.
So, yeah, I mean, No Name is definitely hitting some significant shots on a sniper, so he may have died, did get that headshot before, so, you know, I feel like that's a pretty fair trade. If you can consistently, you know, beat your sniper for that medic frag, that's going to win you this kind of situation. And now, these hills, you know, seems like Death Machine's got a bit more of the memo in terms of playing together, playing these hills. They've taken this position completely for free, and now they've got about 30% advantage, and it does look like they're going to try and get through choke, at least with their demo and soldier. Oh my lord, Vorbe just jumped so deep, and you can see the fear from the side of 100 Years. There's such thing as playing back and playing, you know, for the rest of your team, and then there's just running away.
Cake is down to 7 HP right now. There's no mode to get all the way in behind. Does get cleaned up by Canlock, however, and Cake is now back out with the heals, nice and aggressive. But IMG finds the B shot to Cake. He is dead. Dano now has full Uber advantage. They do pop this one out on the point as Grey Hunter finds the rockets to force the Uber. But Grey Hunter is he going to live? No, he gets piped. And he does go down, and they are making their way onto last so fast. They haven't even capped second right now. What are they doing? Getting a little bit over aggressive, and Cake is going to respawn in 3 seconds, which means that they are going to have around a 25% Uber advantage to hold this last with. Well, to push last with, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it is just about enough. I feel like they've kind of really got a build here, and they're going to have to get through a 450 heavy and a gun. And on this kind of last, like Sunshine in particular, it's a really wide open map. There's some really good spots to play your heavy. As much as the gun spot is fairly easy to deal with and kind of everyone should know about it by now, you have to deal with that, and you have to deal with the heavy, and you have to take the high ground. And all of that with only about 25% advantage, which is literally just seconds in terms of, you know, Cake kiting correctly and trying to get it. But actually, they have built incredibly well, and it's actually turned into about a 40% Uber advantage. So this is the opportunity. They've already wasted a decent amount of time. They've been 100% for quite a while now, and they don't seem to really know what to do. They're just still standing around Shutter. This is, I mean, they could be in. They could be winning last right now, but they're just so slow.
They are indeed, and they are slowly making their way into right, but they're eating too much spam as they do find the sentry gun nice and early. Cake is now on 90% Uber. They are going to look to rotate this one out probably, as they have just got the beam on top right now, not really building very well unfortunately, as he is full HP. But Cake moving backwards, they do get this Uber and they do pop it out, as the red team Uber is now faded already, and unfortunately both scouts go down and outsiders found as well. Really early on, Danon is really low, but they are starting to move it towards the right side right now as they want to make the counter push happen. Vorobray just hiding underneath to see if he can make any solo plays. Is moving into last right now, but Top is still there on the heavy to defend this last point, but unfortunately Top is getting solo out.
No!
Oh, Arrow
Okay.
comes out! Oh, for Cake. Cake saves it for his team.
That was so close. I mean, if I really feel like if 100 Years were just a little bit faster pushing out, they actually wouldn't have been in position to play with a heavy to actually get that one little frag. But I mean, they made it work, and Danon has gone down, and it is only 1 minute 30 for the side of Death Machine to try and do something. But I don't know, I feel like there's a chance that Grey Hunter maybe just dies if he feeds his life, and maybe with that one pick they can try and make something happen.
Stan finds the kills in lower. That's exactly what they needed. 75% on the side of Cake right now. 1 minute left on the clock. Slayer Man forever actually managing to get him through lower, but Canlock is there to meet him. Unfortunately, Kalistan does go down, but does kill Vorobra in the process. As they are still trying to get to Matza with a nice air pipe on the outsider. Does find that one, but a good arrow coming from Dano to save his life, so he can try and recommit, but Canlock is there to deny that one. And they are starting to finally get the cap as Grey Hunter finds Slayman forever in the backlines. There's just fights everywhere right now, eepily. IMG tries to defend this one, but a good backup coming out from Grey Hunter, and they do manage to find it. Matza finds the frag onto no name mode as well, and that looks like that is going to give them the opportunity to push back into mid. And there are so many players dead, and Danon is really low right now.
I mean, it's 38 seconds. This is a big Uber advantage until they get piped by Matza. I mean, that has to call the end of the game, right? But the thing is, I don't think Death Machine want it to be. They're just going to try and flood through. The demo goes in by himself, hitting one nutty pipe already. This damage is actually pretty decent. 20 seconds to go, and it doesn't look like It's going to be an Uber up on the side of 100 Years. It's going to be all about these frags, killing these fragging classes. It's going to be so hard. No Name tries to run through, and I don't know. I feel like these frags are actually going a decent amount of the way, but they're going to have to start playing time because it's 6 seconds, and I think just, I mean, give it 30 seconds more and maybe they do it, but actually, this game's going to end with a 2-1 to 100 Years.
Looks like 100 Years are actually going to take that one then. So a bit of an upset in this game, I would say, since deathmatch+5. Clear favourite to win this one, but 100 Years did so well actually. They understood the pace of the game. They knew what they had to do. Unfortunately, bled a few players here and there, but overall, pretty solid gameplay coming out from 100 Years. And Sunshine clearly knew what to do on the mids, knew how they were going to rotate through the map. They've clearly done their homework for this one.
100%. I think, I'm sure we're going to have some logs to look at in a second, but I would imagine, I mean, we obviously talked about the soldiers on 100 Years. They seem to just get so many different opportunities. As much as, they had a lot of flank plays, there was a lot of positions where Grey Hunter would just kind of walk in, he'd get tanked, and he would just hit those shots. He'd live long enough with his medic to just take so much position, deal so much damage, and allow the rest of the team to kind of, move forward a little bit.
Indeed. I have to hand it to Kalistan in that game. He created all of the opportunities for his team. He was getting the sacks in. He was guarding the flank, making the flank plays, getting the flank picks. He was all over that game. He really understood the pace so well. And I have to say as well, Cake once again doing a phenomenal job at staying alive the entire game.
I think, yeah, looking at these logs a second. Well, okay, so 32 frags for Kazakhstan here. I mean, 30 deaths as well. So there's a lot of just, jumping at things and trying to make things happen. I mean, a lot of things did happen, but it kind of also shows that it was a little bit samey what he was doing. There was an opportunity for more reactive plays, more kind of, expectation of this flanking soldier from the side of Death Machine, but it didn't seem like they could really ever get that read. Maybe it was a timing thing, maybe it was a bit of a coordination thing, but, it definitely didn't quite seem to work out. But, I mean, on the side of Death Machine, we did see some really good stuff from Vorbe, and even, like, IMG, again, 25 for 25, he'd make things happen, but it was kind of just a bit full commit, run in, get that frag and then just die. And it's kind of like Scout isn't really best played that way, You can get that frag and then, hey, you're a Scout. You can just run away, play a little bit more around the hills. And maybe if they played that little bit more patient, a little bit more kind of, scouts around the hills, maybe they would have converted more of these advantages.
Oh, indeed. They just sort of like they had some creativity in places, but from what we saw, it wasn't too much creative stuff. Just too much of bleeding players more than actual sack players coming out. And I would have liked to see more double scout ubers, because they took one double scout uber during that game on the blue side, and they managed to find all of the frags that they needed. And they just played it so well. But I thought as well, do you remember that rat play going back? So well played from the red team, but unfortunately didn't work out in the end. But it clearly shows that they have a decent understanding.
It does, 100%. And, really, like, considering you'll have those nerves for the grand finals, considering these, these are players which are like pretty inexperienced. The fact that they kept cool enough to make those kind of plays, stuff which is quite a heavy commit and quite a difficult decision to make on the spot, because you've really just got to trust that your team's going to do what they're going to do. It's really nice to see. It kept the game super exciting, and it was close constantly. Every trade, every fight, it could really kind of go either way, and I feel like on a different day, maybe Death Machine would have won it, but said the way that 100 Years were playing, it felt like they did deserve it. They were that decent little step ahead.
Yeah, indeed. So it's going to be nice to see how they perform in the future now that they've just managed to land themselves their gold open medals. So congratulations to those teams coming out of the back of this game. So Deathmatch+5, unfortunate commiserations to you guys. You played very well, but unfortunately you were no match for 100 Years, and 2-1 both maps. So like you said, eepily, very close in both games. Any closing words that you want to give to this one?
Um, I
Oh,
mean,
never mind.
it was definitely a really enjoyable game to watch. I said, there's definitely a lot of things to take away. I hope both teams stay together. I hope they kind of stay together and look at this kind of game as like, okay, this is us playing in a very high pressure situation in, the hardest game of the season. What can we learn from this? Because there's definitely a lot that can be taken forward to make both these teams really, some. I mean, it's significant in the game, but they're relatively minor things they could do to fix it to make them so much stronger, looking to obviously going into future seasons playing higher divisions now?
Oh, indeed. So hopefully we'll see them in low. Maybe some of them maybe finding their way into mid. But for the likes of Grey Hunter, Kallistan, and Cake and Danone, definitely those were the 4 standout players for me for that game, and for that entire series of games. In fact, I reckon that they could definitely go forwards. But if they keep their team together, it tends to have a lot more team cohesion. Really make for a lot of teams. And it looks like we are going to have a couple interviews coming our way now. Eepily, are you excited?
I'm terribly excited. I think we're gonna have at least Canlock and Matza. How's it going, guys?
Hello.
Hello.
So guys, quick question coming out from me. How does it feel, Matza, to be the Open champion?
It's my second time anyway, so I feel it before. But it's pretty
I'm
good,
pretty
actually.
happy because
Pretty happy.
we practice a lot and we are just happy that we managed to win this season.
Indeed, it did show during this game as well that you clearly had a grasp on these maps and clearly showed your skill throughout the game. And I have to say, Canlock, you did such a good job of playing into those soldiers. Was it a very good strategy from the start that you'd be going on these soldiers as much as you did?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
Damn straight. Of course we are.
Nice.
Of course we're gonna do that.
Thank you, brother.
Any questions from you, Eepily?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, obviously going into this, you knew that you'd lost quite heavily to Death Machine over the course of the season. I think it was week three or four something. So you'd kind of had that experience. Do you think you learned a lot about their playstyle, or do you think it's? I guess the question is, do you think you countered their playstyle, or was it just your team just
Our
got much
team changed
better since
a
then?
bit since the week 3. We improved a lot by playing a lot of scrims and map talks.
Yeah, like
What-
we had a
So-
different demo, and I just joined the team after the week 3 or something like that. So it was like completely different roster after that, the match with the Death Machine.
Oh, well, fair enough. But since you picked out Sunshine, not typically one of the maps people go for. People usually go for maps like Gully Wash, occasionally a product game, maybe any kind of typical map like Snake Water. But you guys chose Sunshine, I believe, did you not? And were you more confident on that map than you were for all the other maps? Is that the reason you chose it?
Yeah, actually we just screamed like every map, and we just found out that Sunshine was our best map, so we decided to scrim it like every day or something like that for some reason, and we just picked the Sunshine as our map.
Nice, it's good to hear. Good to hear that you guys are really putting in the effort. So, what are we going to see out of you guys from next season then? What do you reckon is going to happen?
I think we're disbanding.
Oh.
No, not what I wanted.
Yeah.
That's not what you want. We were just talking about how much we love it when teams stay together, continue to improve, go to higher and higher divisions. I want to see you guys in Prem in 3 seasons' time.
I can't tell
Well,
at the moment.
I think we are going to disband. I'm not sure though. Like everyone is looking for a different team right now, but we might not be too.
Oh no, that's not too good, is it? But you now got all of your gold place medals, so at least you'll have the memory in your heart from
Yes.
from this team of 100 years. What did the name from 100 years, by the way? I don't. Was it anything specific?
We have no idea, to be honest. They just named the team, so we have to ask the Jews.
The first
Fantastic.
name was Champions, so
You should have stuck with that, to be honest. I feel like that was planning from the start. You knew.
You knew you were going to be champions. So were you confident coming into this game? 100% confident, or were you just going to play your strategy and pray it worked, or were you quaking in your boots for this one?
We are actually like not really confident, but confident at the same time. But we just tried so hard to improve, so we're actually confident.
And like to welcome Jeeves as well into the channel. How's it going, man?
Yeah, it's good, man. It feels good to beat a team that shit talks you for a whole season.
Yikes.
Destroy them.
The passion, The
The passion, the raw passion.
You gotta
That's what we like to
respect
see.
it.
Easy
Gotta
games,
respect it.
man. We should have gone low, because we did like a scrim against Bosch's team. We beat like Penguins and that. So playing them was like, they didn't know that Uber disholds. It was just like, it was awful. Like if you watched it, right? We just Ubered into them and killed everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to watch you outposition their team the entire time during that game, and make some incredible plays onto as many players as you totally could. And Gem is actually raising, saying, "You are talking right now, boy."
Nah, I'm not smack talking. I'm just telling the truth, man. Like it's over now. Forget about it. But like, yeah, out positioning. What do you mean? Like hiding in that.
Yeah, it was very clear that it was be dominant throughout the game. So eepily, any more questions you want to ask to Jeeves while he's here?
Not really that I can think of. I'll be honest. I'm still thrown off by how early it is. I think we may want to start looking to do some shout outs, wrap it up, and what else the night has in store. You know.
Hit the bars, man. Hit bars. That's the plan for me.
All right. Shout out to Cars for being our mate and mentoring us. Like you're proper smart in that. Shout out to Aaron from Shaggers Club. Shout out to Tamir, just the coolest guy. And shout out to my team, obviously. Hopefully we can do this. We'll see if we continue next season. Yeah.
Canlock, any shout outs for you?
Yeah, shout out to EFTL, Kanker, Sammy Buller, and BKTS.
Fantastic. And you, Matza?
I would like to thank my team and Mums because he was out of demo and he was supposed to play. He couldn't make it, so I had to play demo today.
Oh yes, rest in peace, mums.
Any shout outs for you, eepily? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, I'm gonna shout out both teams for a good game. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, my third grand final casting in 3 days, so it's been pretty good stuff. Shout out to Gem for whispering in our ears and doing all the lovely production stuff behind the scenes, and shout out to you for the first time I've casted with you for a while. I think we've only really casted together twice, I think, ever.
Yes, so I believe indeed. It's
It was
been a good
I
one.
had fun.
I love you, eepily. I really do. You're the most charismatic caster. So big shout outs to you. Shout outs to Gem. Shout outs to Copenhagen Games and STN Trading for sponsoring this one. Shout outs to Team Rush as well for their amazing performance voice. But we'd like to thank everyone this evening for tuning in to Team Fortress TV. It's been a wonderful evening, and 100 years are your low champions, or open champions, even not low. And I'm now mumbling. So thank you everyone once again for watching this one. We have been Team Fortress TV with eepily as my co-caster, Gem on production, and we will see you for the next game, boys and girls. Take it easy.